Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest. Not a bit of complice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect or your favorite social media lawyer or legal analyst or legal commentator. I'm going to be doing a lot of commentary today on various topics, and I am so glad that you are here to join us on this fabulous Friday. I have titled this Video Footage Friday because everything that I'm going over today has footage attached to it. So I figured, why not just get all the footage out of the way? So if you guys have not done so already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you've just been kind of perusing, trying to figure out if you want to subscribe, let's make a commitment. Let's make a commitment over here so you can get the notifications and you will know every time that we go live. Also, make sure that you hit the like button because it helps with the algorithm to let other people know that we're live so I can come through the feed and maybe we can get some new people over here, get some more intellects. And if you have not joined our membership, please head on over there and check us out in the membership. I went live earlier, I did a video and I essentially talked about, what did I talk about? Oh, Tasha K's husband, he got a lawyer and the reasoning why he got a lawyer in her bankruptcy case. And then also I discussed Brandon Belmonte. Very quick video, 20 minutes. So over in the membership session, because I'm busy a lot and I don't go live as much as I would like to go live. Sometimes I'll drop documents over there, or I'll drop, the amount because they only allow you to put so many pages on the wall. So I put it on my membership wall, and then if my members say, "Well, Pam, I want to talk about this," then like I did today, I have no problem going live to elaborate. But if you are a member already and you have not watched the video, make sure you go over there and check it out after this video, of course, after this show. So I'm going to speak to you guys. Thank you so much, first of all, for starting out becoming a member. You guys, welcome, Thomas. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Adele, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome over here to the Intellects. Linda, Mr. CKB, Penny, Andrew, good to see you. Yeah, this is going to be good. We got a lot to talk about today. Jeff, this is Cupcake. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I already said all that already, but make sure you subscribe, especially if you want to make some comments on some of the stuff that we talk about today. It is on subscribers only, so you are going to have to subscribe in order to talk. Hey, Jeff, Sonia, I am here for the show. Now, that is a name. Are you here for the show or are you here for the show? Rody, good evening. Joyce, good evening. Nizzy Sin. Love Jones. Yes, let's get it on this Friday. We are going to have a good time. We typically do. We go over a lot of court documents, cases, and then we give our own 2 cents. And we have already made ourselves the self-appointed jurors. So we give our opinion as if our opinion matters. We do that as well. Hey, Annette. Hey, Thais, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. You know how I feel about you. Dr. Mary McWilliams, good evening. Sharon and Natty, Miss V, Chef Don Chef Friday. Thank you again. Thank you, Dorothy, for the membership. I appreciate it. You know, that's the new emoji. Pam said that we have over there on the membership. If you are a part of the membership, you also can create your own emojis. So that's why when you see people that have the little pictures of bald head every time, you know, our favorite bishop over here calls me bald headed Pam, they just put it in the chat. We don't even take offense anymore. It is. It is. It is. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Tracy. Look, Cupcake has it already. She is on it. That's Pam said. That's right. Pam said that was hilarious. Everybody's like, you need to put that in the clip. But I was really serious. I'm like one of the only ones that just go off documents. I give a little commentary, of course, in my opinion. But for the most part, it's in the documents. But then you guys go over there to this man over here. Y'all go over to this man's page right here.
You's a clown. That's what you. Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not gonna call you that.
Huh? Look on Facebook Live. Call me a cardboard bishop now. You clown. That's what you are. You clown. That's what you are. Why don't you say what you say on Facebook Live, sucker?
No.
They messy, Don. They go over there right in the chat. He'll go over there giving his spiel. You know, I'm gonna be, you know, that Miss Jones. I just sued her for millions of dollars. Wasn't that case dismissed? No, it wasn't dismissed. Well, Pam said over there on her chat. I'm like, yeah. And then they said, yeah, we know Pam said that. Bald-headed Pam, she don't give all the information. She picks and chooses whatever documents that she wants to use. And then it goes over and over again. Well, Pam said, I'm like, why y'all can't say the court said? Why you can't just say the document said? This is what the documents say. You always got to say Pam said. So that's where that came from. Merch is coming soon because I am going to. You know what? Okay, y'all. Let's get to business here. So we have talked about, and if you guys, these are all videos that you can go back to get more foundation, especially for the newer people that may not or have not been able to catch my lives. But we have been covering a lot of cases that occurred this week. And one of those cases has been Michael Oher. If you guys remember the movie The BlindSide. So The BlindSide was the movie. People have called it the white savior movie. That's why they didn't like it. I thought it was a cute movie till I started looking at all of this, and now I see what everybody's saying. But according to Sandra Bullock, won all these awards. Great, movie that was very successful, $330 million or so in the box office. Well, Michael Oher is claiming that he got duped out of his money, his portions of it from his adopted family. So the white family never really adopted him. There was a conservatorship. So we went over on a different, of course, on the show, we went over this document right here, which was the petition to terminate conservatorship. So that people were calling it a lawsuit. It's really not a lawsuit. There was a conservatorship, and Michael Oher is trying to petition in the probate court to terminate the conservatorship, make the Tuohys do, who are the who are the ones that are the conservators, the white family in the movie, make the Tuohys account for all of the money, and then he wants some of his money back. Well, of course, the Tuohys wasn't just going to let him come out here and make these type of claims. They were making it seem like because he had a book coming out that this might have been the reason. Well, his attorneys have actually came forward a few days ago, and I'm just going to tell you what they had to say. And then you guys can tell me what your thoughts are, because
You all know by now, Steve Parise and I, along with Marty Singer, California, representing the Toohey family, as a result of a petition filed by Michael Oher. 48 hours ago, a bomb dropped on our clients. To say they were devastated by these allegations is truly an understatement. Sean and Leanne, for my money, are salt of the earth. They would never do anything to deprive Michael of anything that was his. And they remain devastated. It's going to take them a while to come around and get to where they need to be. As it relates to the allegations, this lawsuit, this petition, was built around an alleged fact that Mr. Oher did not know that he was not the adoptive son of the Tooheys, but rather there was a conservatorship. He alleges he just found that out in February of 2023. Fact of the matter is, he wrote a book in 2011. In 2011, he acknowledged in that book on 3 separate occasions in that book that there was in fact a conservatorship. The Tooheys have treated him and taken him in like a son. They have fed him, they have clothed him, they sent him to school, they made certain he had an automobile. They've done for him like they've done for their other children. And I think Sean said it best, that he still loves him today at age 37 like he did when he was 16. I am at a loss, as is Mr. Parise and Mr. Singer and everybody else associated with the Tooheys, as to why or how he has come to the position he's come to, but he has. Court of law is no place to play. This is basically a lawsuit. As it relates to a conservatorship, that order was entered in December 7th, 2004. National Signing Day that year, the following year, was in February. It was on February the 2nd of 2005. So he had a pretty short window. We all know that Oher was a tremendous lineman, great player, great history that he's made for himself on the football field. At the time, and I might be wrong about this, you might check the stats, you sports guys, I think there were 3 schools in the running. Came down to Ole Miss, Tennessee, and LSU. And I could be wrong about that. I wouldn't put my hand on the Bible and swear that, but I think that's right. The only way, given the NCAA rules at the time, back in 2005, that he could sign with Ole Miss, is he became, according to the NCAA, as part of the family. They sought legal counsel, and basically they wanted to give him the opportunity to choose wherever he wanted to go, including Ole Miss. He was not told to go to Ole Miss. That was his choice. But in order to get that done, they had to make him, as I say, part of the family. That's the route they chose. You had a very short period of time between the time that occurred and National Signing Day. And I think the rest is history as it relates to football. With that, I'm going to ask Mr. Parise, my dear friend and colleague, to make a few comments.
One of the things that needs to be kept in mind in this particular case, when we're talking about a conservatorship, we're not talking about high-profile Hollywood cases.
Are these not the typical lawyers that, like, you think about when you think about, like, before they started showing melanin faces on TV, like this was like the look. Look at the picture in the back. Like everybody just has this. Okay, I digress. Let me go ahead.
We're talking about a family trying to help someone in need. The Tuohys did not control any of Mr. Oher's finances. Mr. Oher picked his own agent. When he signed Pro, Mr. Oher signed his own contract and negotiated it through his agents. In fact, he went through a total of 3 agents. The Tuohys had recommended one agent, but he decided to go with another one, became dissatisfied with that agent, hired another one, became dissatisfied with that agent, and then hired another agent that was recommended by the Tuohys.
But I think they're missing the point. The point is, it appears that all these contracts, if you guys remember going over that conservatorship, being able to contract, yes, it was clear that Michael Oher probably contracted on his own and did not follow all the conservator protocol of a conservatorship. That's obvious. But in my opinion, it feels like they knew that this was a good story and they wanted the rights to this specific story. They wanted to have the rights in the movie. They wanted to make money in the movie. So, of course, they don't care about, they're going to let you make your money on football. They're going to let you do other things. But it just seems to me, based on all the information I've seen, that what these attorneys are saying doesn't matter. We don't care that he was able to get his own agent for football. He was able to get a contract. He was able to do all that. He was very specific that he feels like he is owed movie for this story that your clients are in, sir. That's what the argument is. So all of this deflection, making it seem like that, obviously we know the conservatorship was not followed to the T. Because they didn't even turn in accounting. They didn't show anything about the money he made. They didn't do what conservators do. There wasn't even what's called a GAL or guardian ad litem on this case, which usually oversees it. There was a lot of things going on in this case. The family lawyer was Oher's lawyer. It was just, it was, like it was an arm's length. Everything was, it seems like a conflict, but let me go ahead.
They did not share in his monies. They did not control any shoe contracts, anything of that nature. The Tuohys treated him like a son. They loved him. And believe you me, there are more expenses to college than just getting a scholarship. And they provided not only financially, but the love and affection that parents should give, and they were able to give it. They don't need his money. They've never needed his money. Mr. Tuohy sold his company for $220 million.
Oh.
He didn't need.
But why was Mr. Tuohy able to sell it for that high amount? Was it because you became marketable because of this movie? There are benefits that you get. Like, for instance, here, there's a radio station that a lot of people go on. And even though they may make money off of ads, the benefit of that, especially if you're a lawyer, is you get free publicity. People get to know who you are. People get to see you, and it brings in more. Just like me being on YouTube. People email me all the time asking legal questions or wanting to hire me. That's like free, not so free marketing. You know what I'm saying? There's benefits. There were benefits to that movie where I think it reflected on you being this great person. And then for you to put it on your websites and using that as a story for your nonprofits, according to this petition that was filed to terminate the conservatorship, there were actually, there were links that they put down where they tell the story on their website. So stop making it seem like we ain't need this money. We sold it for $224 million. Yeah, but how did you get in that position? What happened to get you in that position where people were even willing to give you 200 and whatever million for your business?
Mr. Oher's honey, this is a sad day. It's devastating to the family, and we hope that it doesn't have a chilling effect on others who want to help needy individuals.
Needy individuals.
Mr. Singh.
Did you hear that? He hopes this does not have a chilling effect on others who want to help needy individuals. Do you realize he was already an All-American when he started staying in his home, that he had already had scholarships? He could have went to any school that he wanted to. Any school that he wanted to. He was clearly on the verge of being successful because he has shown his success while he was in high school. Needy individual. You got a lot of nerve, sir.
You said in a statement yesterday that Oher has previously done this and Fred negative press on the family if they didn't give him $15 million. Can you speak about that and kind of what happened with that before?
Well, simply we believe that to be correct and will be shown in court.
So what they're trying to say is this is a shakedown, that in the past, Michael Oher told him to give, basically threatened that if they didn't give him $15 million, they were going to expose him. And so now they're saying that they didn't give it to him. All this is going to be exposed. So, but why is he asking for the 15 million? You're making it seem like he just came and was like, give me this 15 million or else I'm going to make something up. You didn't say he said he was going to make something up. He just said he was going to expose you guys or expose your clients.
Through text messages.
Who was representing the twos at the time when it was going on, do you know?
I wasn't.
So can you speak a little more how that got disposed of? Is it still going on? What happened in that matter?
I don't understand your question.
So I mean, so how did that eventually, when he came before and threatened this money and threatened the negative
We
press?
said we're not going to be strong-armed. We haven't done anything. We're not going to be extorted.
Why wasn't the conservatorship ended earlier?
Good question.
He's 37 years old.
Well, let me answer that. They were appointed conservator of the person. There was no estate for which to file accounting for, and frankly, nobody even thought about it. He did all of his own finances, as Steve said. He entered his own contracts, he had his own agents, and frankly, nobody even thought about it. The Tuohys have said on the record more than once since this started some 48 hours ago, they'll be glad to enter whatever order they want to terminate the conservatorship.
Why wasn't he adopted back then?
It didn't make any difference to the Tuohys. There was one way, there was one thing to accomplish, and that was to make him part of the family so that the NCAA would be satisfied, because Sean would have been a booster of the university. We've all seen that with our own University of Memphis and Coach Hardaway, but that was the reason.
Daniel Wilkerson, Fox 13. Can you give me an estimate as to how much money the Tuohys have made off of the BlindSide, the movie, versus how much Oher has made off of that movie?
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, they've all, each member of the family has received the same amount of money. So imagine a pie divided by 5, okay? We estimate each person received $100,000, each person in the family.
Including Mr. Oher?
Correct.
Including Mr. Oher.
Correct.
That money, did it come directly to the Tuohys and then they divvied it up and gave Mr. Oher his portion?
That's correct.
Let me go on to amplify that. After, as we know, in 2004, in those years as an NCAA athlete, he couldn't earn any money. He couldn't have a job. He was straddled by the NCAA rules. So after that was over, Tuohy offered to CCA, I think it's called, we'll go ahead and send Michael's check directly to him. Well, they had to do a whole rigmarole. They confronted Michael with it. He suggested just leave it like it is. And every time Sean would get a check, he'd take a picture of it, he'd send it to Michael and send him a check. So Michael got every dime he had coming.
And they paid the taxes on it for him.
Isn't that something? So when it comes to a trust fund set up for Michael's children, are there multiple trust funds set up? There was mention of that in, I believe, the statement given by the attorney for the family.
There was one trust fund set up for Michael Jr.
By the
Tuohy's,
two.
because Michael Oher would not accept the checks.
Why do you think Michael Oher has made these allegations? What do you think is behind it?
We don't know.
One thing I wanted to ask, I was talking to a lawyer earlier today. Typically, when a conservatorship is set up, there's a GAL, or I think it was called guardian ad litem, to help act as a point person for people like Michael. But there wasn't any mention of that in the petition. What is this true? Was there no GAL?
It's funny you asked that. We were just looking at that. The GAL was waived by Judge Bennett. He waived the requirement of a GAL. Remember this, Michael was 18. He was a party to the petition. His mother was there. And Judge Bennett saw fit to waive the appointment of a guardian ad litem.
What has the relationship been like between Michael and the Tuohy's in more recent years? Have they been in close contact? Has he still been quote unquote part of the family, or have they been a little more estranged?
No, he's been estranged since then, probably for the last 10 years or so, and becoming more and more vocal and more threatening.
So in the original filing too, Mr. Oher says that there's a document, a contract signed where it basically strips him of his rights and his name rights, and where he doesn't get any money out of anything coming.
What is so funny?
But he's not sure if his signature is the one on the document, and doesn't remember signing it. Is there a response to that?
It's patently false. He's negotiated his own contract with the NFL. He's hired and fired agents. The Tuohy's have never had to sign off on any of that. He's done that all himself.
Is that typically how it would work with a conservatorship, or are they working around the conservatorship in terms of the negotiations that he did on his own with the NFL, shoe deals, etc.?
Well, generally, all depending on what the circumstances are. Remember, this conservatorship was set up for the purpose that I indicated earlier, so that if he chose to go to Ole Miss, there would not be an issue about Sean being a booster. And that was the sole reason, and after that got done, nobody really gave it to him. So typically, there might well be the requirement of a conservator to execute a contract. Okay, but in this case, he would executed his own, and nobody ever objected to it. Certainly the Tuohy's didn't object to it. They didn't want no part of his money. They would have done anything to help him had he needed them to. But he negotiated his own deals and made his own money, and I think he made $35 million playing right tackle in football.
Just so I'm clear, it was.
What does him making $35 million in football got to do with the money for this movie? That's just like what they keep saying about, Cardi B. Why you going after this money? You already rich. If it's my money, I want my money. I don't care if I'm a quadrillionaire. I want all my money. If you owe me $20, anybody, let me put it out. If you owe me $20, cash at me my $20. I want all my money. So why are you even bringing it up? You almost making it seem like he's being greedy or something because he wants the money from this movie. And he made $54 million or whatever the contract was he had for football. He was the one taking all them hits. He's the one probably got to deal with CTE and all of that with football. This guy right here.
$100,000, not $200 or $225 that he was given for.
We believe it to be $100,000 per person, 5 shares.
And that was when the movie initially came out. Were there any more funds? I mean, this movie is in DVD sales and any other checks.
As time goes on, I expect there may be additional revenues.
So how much revenue did the Tuohy's make off appearances? Did we do
As I indicated, $100,000 per person, approximately. I'm guessing at it, but it's right around that number.
But that was for the contract. They also got 2.5% of the net proceedings, right? So
that's where the money comes from.
Okay.
So the 100,000 is both the initial, whatever, is 14,000, whatever that was, plus you're estimating if you all the checks that have come total 100,000.
Right, yeah. Remember, this is 48 hours old, so I don't have the numbers at the tip of my tongue.
Oh, you don't got the numbers now.
Yeah, I believe that to be correct.
The reason why we didn't have this come more to the forefront earlier when the movie came out, because a big part of that was that he was adopted. Why was this now just coming?
I didn't understand your question. What did you say?
So one thing that some of my coworkers were wondering is that a big part of the movie made it seem like he was adopted.
But see, the problem is if they were getting 2.5% of the net proceeds, and those proceeds were $330 million, $100,000 a piece, which would be less than $1 million, would not be nowhere near how much they would get. That's like $8 million, $8,200,000 or something. If you want to do it off the entire 330, and that's the box office. That has nothing to do with how it comes on TV 20 times a week. It's on TNT all the time. It's on all streaming networks. It's probably on Netflix. It's on all these, probably on Peacock. I mean, come on.
And that was a big part of it. Why did it take so long from when that was going around and when that was making money to the conservatorship coming out even in 2011?
Well, even in the movie, I think there were references to a conservatorship. I don't think there was a reference to an adoption in the movie. But to your point, they always treated him as a son. They took him into the family. They did all the things that you would do for a son. So, why 2023 when he acknowledged in 2011 that there was a need of conservatorship? You'll have to ask Mr. Oher that.
So Mr. Oher also, in addition to ending the conservatorship, it looks like he's also looking to get, kind of back pay from what he thinks he's owed over time. Has he presented a figure to the Tuohys as to what he's looking for?
No.
Would you be willing, in addition to dissolving the conservatorship, to have an accounting of?
Yeah, he's asked for an accounting. That'll be a pretty simple process, I expect.
Would you mind taking us closer to the microphones? We're having this hearing.
My wife tells me I'm too loud to start with.
No, that was a
So
joke.
what comes next with this? It sounds like you're not going to fight any of this conservatorship.
No, we're glad, if that's what he wants to do is terminate it, we're glad to do so. As a matter of fact, it is our intent to offer to enter into a consent order as it relates to the conservatorship, and then if they have other issues, we'll deal with them.
So it sounds like to me that if they enter into a consent order in order to just be out, which would be easy for them to just go ahead and agree to let him out, but there's more issues. So I'm wondering if they're going to make him sue them and say that they breached some type of contract for that money just to get out of probate. Because if they're like, well, we'll just, we have no problem signing it over and releasing you from that. But that's not the only issue. The conservatorship is not the only issue. It's the money. So I'm very interested to see if the probate court continues with this case, even though now it's almost more of a litigation arm that will go in regular state court.
How long would that take to get that order put in and signed and we're done with this?
It shouldn't be long.
What does it mean? Talking a week, talking 2 days?
Look, in this business, what I tell you, it takes a week, may take a month. I can't tell you.
Do you think at any point we will hear directly from the Tuohys?
Possibly somewhere down the line, but I mean, look, these people are truly devastated. I mean, this was their son. This was somebody they treated as a son who has made public these allegations.
You see how they're the victims now? How the Tuohys became the victims?
That are just ludicrous. So I can't stand in their shoes, but I can only imagine the devastation they must feel.
Michael has never, up until now, ever made any, I'm wondering if he's made any effort before now to, has he ever broached the subject of dissolving the conservatorship or, ending it better before now?
Not to my knowledge. Of course, he alleges he didn't know about it until February 21st. Whatever that's worth. Questions, anyone?
No, you're not. No. We have nothing
Steve
else.
made me get y'all cookies. They're back there. Please take them.
Well, I mean, y'all have to eat too.
Oh, now he got cookies. They got hospitality. So there you guys have it. That is the attorneys for the Tuohys who are responding to the allegations, including the petition for termination of the conservatorship that we went over a few nights ago on the Michael Oher matter. Looks like this is about to be in litigation for a while, so of course we will stay on it. I've seen most of your comments and put them on the screen, and we can always revisit this later, but we're going to move on because that was a pretty long press conference. Make sure all of you guys hit the like, subscribe if you're new here and haven't done so already. If you've been in the bushes, why don't you come on out and say hello? Come on out. We're friendly over here. We just, in our conversation, we just want you to use your thinker. Use your thinker. That's all we require over here. Is use your thinker. So the next order of business, guys, is your favorite person, Donald Trump. So many of you have asked me to go over, they're like, Pam, are you going to go over the indictment? I downloaded that indictment, and it cost like $50. And you know why it cost that much? Because it's super duper long. That indictment is ridiculous. So what I said is there were some interesting parts of the indictment that I would like to, discuss briefly. But this is the indictment. As you see it has 98 pages. Trump was doing a whole lot. I mean, and you see all the names. I posted it on my wall. You have Donald Trump. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 counts against him. You got your boy Rudolph Giuliani. He pretty much was going neck and neck with him. Charles Eastman, for some of you guys that don't know, that's an attorney out of, I believe, California. I know he was currently fighting for his license in California. So that is crazy. Mark Meadows, we've heard about him. As you see, these counts are going down, like the numbers. Kenneth John, Cheesebro, Jeffrey Bussert, Jenna Lynn Ellis, Ray Stalin, Robert David Cheeley, Michael Roman, David James Schaefer, Sean Michael Treschner Steele, Stephen Lee, Harrison William Prescott Floyd. He has 3 counts. We're going to talk about Harrison William Prescott Floyd and Trayvon C. Cuddy is the ex-PR person out of Chicago for Kanye West and R. Kelly. How did she get wrapped up in this? About to see in a minute. Sydney Catherine Powell, Kathleen Austin, Scott Graham, and Misty Hampton. All I can say is y'all right here on this last page, you guys need to go ahead and sing like a bird. That's what you guys need to do. Sing like a bird, because some of these people, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump doesn't even know. They probably never stepped foot in the same room as Donald Trump, and they just got caught up in the game. And to see how everyone got caught up in this is just absolutely nuts. So I'm going to hit some spots, and then I want to talk about Kanye West's ex-publicist getting caught up in this. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I'm going to read to you guys. So these are all, that's why I put it on my page so you guys can see the corresponding numbers. So if you want to know what Donald Trump is accused of, his homeboy Rudy Giuliani, it's like y'all need to sit down somewhere. You guys are getting too old for this foolishness. If you go to count 1, you see violation of the RICO Act. That's an automatic year in jail. You can't even get probation if you get caught up in the RICO. Count 5, solicitation of violation of the oath of a public office. Count 9, conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. They got all the counts next to them. So if you guys want to peruse to see what all these people are accused of, then there it goes. So what we're going to do real quick, hopefully it's real quick, is go over the, did they leave the names on there? They must have left the names on there of the jurors of the grand jury. That's not really smart. Okay. So let's do an introduction. I've never seen an indictment. They're introducing it for you. They're trying to set the stage. Defendant Donald John Trump lost the United States presidential election held on November 3rd, 2020. One of the states he lost was Georgia. Trump and the other defendants charged in this indictment refused to accept that Trump lost, and they knowingly and willfully joined a conspiracy to unlawfully change the outcome of the election in favor of Trump. That conspiracy contained a common plan and purpose to commit 2 or more acts of racketeering activity in Fulton County, Georgia, elsewhere in the state of Georgia, and in other states. What I learned from this, guys, Donald Trump is a sore loser, okay? And there's some people that are out here that is willing to risk it all just to be a part of Donald Trump's foolishness. And that's all this indictment was showing for me. It's just crazy. Just absolutely nuts. But I digress. So let's go to the enterprise here. At all times relevant to this count of the indictment, the defendants, as well as others not named as the co-conspirators. If you go through the individual acts, because these are going to be general statements on what generally happened. But what Madam D.A. Fawny does is she has line by line every little thing that you did. And you will probably be surprised at some of the stuff that they did. But if it was in furtherance of the conspiracy, that means it could be a text message saying, hey, meet me here. I'm going to give you this paper. That's in furtherance of the conspiracy. People going out and saying, like Donald Trump saying that the election was a fraud. That is part of the conspiracy, because what you were trying to do is to get these special hearings in these different states to try to say that there was some type of election fraud, knowing that it wasn't true. And then trying to get other people to testify to your made up facts in order to win. And there was people out here willing to do this. I'm like, who are these people? Anyway, they unlawfully conspire and endeavor to conduct and participate in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere. Defendants Donald John Trump, it lists all the people here that I just listed, so we're not going to do that. Unindicted co-conspirators, individual 1 through individual 30. There are 30 people that are considered co-conspirators, but they were not indicted as of now. And others known and unknown to the grand jury constituted a criminal organization whose members and associates engaged in various related criminal activities, including but not limited to false statements and writings, impersonating a public officer, forgery, filing false documents, influencing witnesses, computer theft, computer trespass, computer invasion of privacy, conspiracy to defraud the state, acts involving theft and perjury. The criminal organization constituted an enterprise, as that term is defined in OCGA section 16-14-3. That is a group of individuals associated. In fact, the defendants and other members and associates of the enterprise had connections and relationships with one another and with the enterprise. The enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members and associates functions as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objective of the enterprise. The enterprise operated in Fulton County, Georgia, elsewhere in the state of Georgia, and other states, including but not limited to Arizona, right here in Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and DC. The enterprise operated for a period of time sufficient to permit its members and associates to pursue its objective. So this is the manner and method. The manner and method used by the defendants and other members and associates of the enterprise to further the goals of the enterprise and to achieve its purposes included, but were not limited to, false statements, and solicitation of state legislatures. You guys got to listen to what these people allegedly were doing, because everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But my. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, appeared at hearings in Fulton County, Georgia, before members of the Georgia General Assembly on December 3rd, 2020, December 10th, 2020, and December 30th, 2020. At these hearings, members of the enterprise made false statements concerning fraud in the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election. The purpose of these false statements was to persuade Georgia legislators to reject lawful electoral votes cast by the duly elected and qualified presidential electors from Georgia. Members of the enterprise corruptly solicited Georgia legislators instead to unlawfully appoint their own presidential electors for the purpose of casting electoral votes for Donald Trump. How in the world did you think you like bumped the electoral college? We just gonna go ahead and get the legislatures to get us to appoint people that's gonna vote for Donald Trump. Then we gonna write our own document and say that all the electoral college is giving it to Donald Trump. That's crazy. Anyway, members of the enterprise also made false statements to state legislators during hearings and meetings in Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in November and December 2020 to persuade legislators in those states to unlawfully appoint their own presidential electors. False statements to and solicitation of high-ranking state officials. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, made false statements in Fulton County and elsewhere in the state of Georgia to Georgia officials, including the governor, Secretary of State, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Member of the enterprise also corruptly solicited Georgia officials, including the Secretary of State and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, to violate their oaths to the Georgia Constitution and the United States Constitution by unlawfully changing the outcome November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Georgia in favor of Donald Trump. Members of the enterprise also made false statements to the solicited state officials in Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So how does that conversation go? Hey, Mr. Governor, I'm here on behalf of former president. Well, he was still the president, I guess, technically at that time. I'm here on behalf of President Donald Trump. And I just want to kind of, can you use your eraser here, your pencil, and just erase some of those votes and put Donald Trump's name on there? Like, how does that conversation even go? Creation and distribution of false electoral college documents. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, created false electoral college documents and recruited individuals to convene and cast false electoral college votes at the Georgia State Capitol in Fulton County on December 14, 2020. After the false electoral college votes were cast, members of the enterprise transmitted the votes to the President of the United States Senate, the Archivist of the United States, the Georgia Secretary of State, and the Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia. The false documents were intended to disrupt and delay the joint session of Congress on January 6, 2021, in order to unlawfully change the outcome of the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in favor of Donald Trump. Similar schemes were executed by members of the enterprise in Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Now, this one is where we get information on Kanye West's ex and R. Kelly's ex-publicist, harassment and intimidation of Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, falsely accused Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman of committing election crimes in Fulton County, Georgia. These false accusations were repeated to Georgia legislators and other Georgia officials in an effort to persuade them to unlawfully change the outcome of the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in favor of Donald Trump. In furtherance of this scheme, members of the enterprise traveled from out of state to harass Freeman, intimidate her, and solicit her to falsely confess to election crimes that she did not commit. So you go, how much they pay you? Like $100 a day to go work the polls? And you just so happen to work at the polls that day. And because you worked at the polls, they want you to admit that you did something with some of these votes, or you did something, you allowed some people to vote that shouldn't have voted, or whatever. And that's what they want you to lie in order to make Donald Trump be declared the winner. Solicitation of high-ranking United States Department of Justice officials. Member of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, corruptly solicited high-ranking United States Department of Justice officials to make false statements to government officials in Fulton County, Georgia, including the governor, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the President pro tem of the Senate. In one instance, Donald Trump stated to the acting U.S. Attorney General, quote, just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. How do you just tell folks, risk your whole job, your license, your livelihood, be away from your family for me, Donald Trump? How do you even fix your mouth to even ask people to do stuff like that? Then you try to solicit the vice president of the United States. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, corruptly solicited the vice president of the United States, Pence, to violate the U.S. Constitution and federal law by unlawfully rejecting electoral college votes cast in Fulton County, Georgia, by the duly elected and qualified presidential electors for Georgia. So they basically asked Pence, hey, bruh, when the electoral college come in, why don't you just reject their votes? When the votes come in, just reject them. Unlawful breach of election equipment in Georgia and elsewhere. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, corruptly conspired in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to unlawfully access secure voting equipment and voter data. In Georgia, members of the enterprise stole data, including ballot images, voting equipment software, and personal voter information. The stolen data was then distributed to other members of the enterprise, including members of other states. Obstructive acts in furtherance of the conspiracy and the cover-up. Members of the enterprise, including several of the defendants, filed false documents, made false statements to government investigators, and committed perjury in judicial proceedings in Fulton County and elsewhere in furtherance to cover up the conspiracy. So then you get into a whole lot of the acts. So that's when that generally is what we just went over. So now you guys have a clear picture of what these individuals, with Trump being at the top and being the puppet master, what they are being accused of doing by the Madam DA over there in Georgia. So there are several acts. That's why the pages are so many. So I'm going to generalize some of them until we get down to the one that has to do with Ms. Freeman, because that was very interesting to me that they went from the top officials to the average citizen to try to get him back in. So just to give you guys a general idea, with Donald Trump, his first act was because he basically said on national television that it was a fraud. So all these acts are considered in furtherance of the conspiracy. So he said, he declared victory and said it was voter fraud. Then you had Giuliani that was leaving voicemails and telephone calls basically saying it was fraud. So you have a lot of that, and a lot of these counts of all these different individuals that left voicemails, text messages, emails, FaceTimes, Instagram, tweets, whatever it was, saying that there was some type of voter fraud. This is supposed to be considered, of course, in furtherance of this conspiracy. Then you had like Rudy Giuliani, who seemed like, again, he was one of the higher ups like Trump. And he would make phone calls trying to get information about these legislatures in Georgia. So that's considered in furtherance, an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. So if I want to know, well, who do I talk to in the state legislature that has some type of control over the votes? And then I say, oh yeah, my homeboy or my girl Andrea, she's up there in the legislature. Let me give you her number. I'm a part of the conspiracy because I just gave you the number for you to contact this person when your whole intent is to try to overturn the election after, or declare that he really won Georgia after we know that Donald Trump already lost. So that's why this is so long, because every single solitary act that you do that assists in any way is considered an overt act. So all of those tweets Donald Trump had, this is a tragedy. This is a travesty. We found a bunch of votes. I know one of the acts on Giuliani. Let me see if I can find it. One of the acts was him. He was saying that it was and you guys probably heard it. 10,000 people were dead. Felons were voting. Unregistered voters, immigrants, whatever. They were putting that out there. That is considered an overt act and furtherance of the conspiracy. Look at this, Act 22. Donald Trump calls to be tweeted from the Twitter account, Georgia hearing now. Amazing. So that was considered an overt act because you tweeted about this hearing that you had them do, a special hearing with all these false allegations that you guys made up, saying that there was fraud in this election. So every tweet you did regarding this hearing was considered a part of the act. See, look at this. Rudy Giuliani said in front of the judiciary. So it has on or about the 3rd day of December 2020, and this is Act 24. Rudolph Giuliani made false statements in writing in Fulton County, Georgia, by knowingly, willingly, and unlawfully making at least one of the following false statements in representation to members of the Georgia Senate present at a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing. 1, that at least 96,600 mail-in ballots were counted in the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Georgia, despite there being no record of those ballots having been returned to a county election office. That Dominion voting system equipment used in November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Antrim County, Michigan, mistakenly recorded 6,000 votes for Joseph R. Biden when the votes were actually cast for Donald Trump. So every time you make these crazy allegations alleging, alleging that all this stuff happened, you just wrote yourself into this whole enterprise. So let me get down to, because I just wanted to generalize, because again, it's a lot. And then we got one more story to go to too. But this Miss Freeman was crazy to me. So let me go find her stuff. There's so much stuff with Giuliani. Look at Giuliani. He testified. He said that it is quite clear from the State Farm Arena video from November 3rd, 2020, that Fulton County election workers were stealing votes and that Georgia officials were covering up a crime in plain sight. You said this stuff out loud. The second thing he said, that at State Farm Arena on November 3rd, Democratic officials, quote, got rid of all of the reporters, all of the observers, anyone that couldn't be trusted, end quote, used the excuse of a water main break, cleared out the voting area, and then, quote, went about their dirty cricket business, end quote. What does Donald Trump have on these people? That they just say whatever and do whatever that he wants or tries to please him so much. And half of these people probably are going to need public defenders. Donald Trump ain't paying for all of you guys to defend these cases. He said that between 12,000 and 24,000 ballots were illegally counted by Fulton County election workers at State Farm Arena on November 3rd, 2020. That in Michigan, there were 700,000 more ballots counted than were sent out to voters in the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election, which was counted for by quadruple counting ballots. That Ruby Freeman, Shay Moss, and an unidentified man were, quote, quite obviously surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine. What? at State Farm Arena to be used to infiltrate the crooked Dominion voting machine. What? That 96,600 mail-in ballots were counted in the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Georgia, despite there being no record of those ballots having been returned to a county election office. Let me find. Y'all get the picture of what's going on here. Again, in the beginning, it's a lot of, it generalizes so you guys can get an idea. But as we scroll through, they are very specific on what every single person allegedly did. So, certain persons. We getting there. Okay. Hold on. Okay. On or about, this is Act 87. Y'all pay attention. On or about the 14th day of December 2020, Stephen Cliffgard Lee attempted to commit the felony offense of influencing witnesses in Fulton County, Georgia, by traveling to the home of Ruby Freeman, a Fulton County, Georgia election worker, and speaking to her neighbor with intent to knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward Ruby Freeman by purporting to offer her help and with intent to influence her testimony in an official proceeding in Fulton County, Georgia, concerning events at State Farm Arena in the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election in Georgia. This was an act of racketeering activity. On or about the 15th day of December 2020, Stephen Cliffgard Lee attempted to commit the felony of influence a witness, and it's pretty much the same thing. On or about the 15th day of December 2020 and 4th day of January 2021, Stephen Cliffgard Lee solicited Harrison William Prescott Floyd, an individual associated with an organization, Black Voices for Trump, to assist with the effort to speak to Ruby Freeman, a Fulton County, Georgia election worker. Stephen Cliffgard Lee stated to Harrison William Prescott Floyd that Freeman was afraid to talk to Stephen Cliffgard Lee because he was a white man. These were overt acts. So because they felt like Freeman wasn't talking to him, he gonna say, let me get my black homeboy from Black Voices for Trump and go have him go harass this woman. Then, let me see. We got to get to Kanye's ex. She was a part of the whole Freeman situation. I hope I ain't pass it. Wait a minute. Lee. There go good old Charles Eastman. Charles Eastman filed a whole lawsuit trying to get an injunction to stop the election. I mean, stop Biden from coming in. I don't understand what Trump has that these people are willing to go backwards. And even like watching, so here we go, like Act 115. On or about the 3rd day of January 2021, Stephen Cliffgard Lee, Harrison William Prescott, and Travion C. Cuddy, that is the ex-publicist of Kanye, placed multiple telephone calls and sent text messages to each other and to other individuals involved in the conspiracy. They include the following. At 7:48 p.m., Harrison William Prescott Floyd placed a telephone call to Ruby Freeman in Fulton County, election worker, that was unsuccessful. At 7:49, Harrison Williams placed a telephone call that was unsuccessful. 7:49, Harrison Williams placed a phone call to Travion Cuddy. At 7:53, Harrison William Prescott Floyd sent a text message to Ruby Freeman. At 8:03, Trayvon C. Cuddy placed a telephone call to Harrison William Prescott Floyd. At 8:11, Harrison William Prescott Floyd placed a telephone call to unindicted co-conspirator individual 23, whose identity is known to the grand jury. At 8:18, Harrison William Prescott Floyd placed a phone call to Stephen Clifford Lee. At 8:48, Harrison Williams placed a phone call to Travion Cuddy. See, they got every time, every text, every phone. Madam was not playing. She was like, listen, I am the DA over here in this county, and we're not playing them guys. At 8:48, Harrison William Prescott placed a telephone call to Travion Cuddy. At 9:16, Harrison William Prescott placed a telephone call to Travion Cuddy. At 9:33, Harrison Prescott placed a call to Travion Cuddy. At 9:50, Harrison Prescott Floyd placed a phone to Stephen Clifford. At Act 116, on or about the 4th day of January 2021, Travion C. Cuddy, having been recruited by Harrison William Prescott Floyd. So this guy that's over the Black Voices Matter, or Black Voices for Trump, he contacted Travion C. Cuddy. So he got her all wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up. Traveled from Chicago, Illinois to Atlanta, Georgia, and caused a certain individual whose identity is known to the grand jury to pick her up from a train station in Fulton County, Georgia, for the purpose of attempting to contact Ruby Freeman, a Fulton County, Georgia election worker. Can you imagine your homegirl coming into town? You like, hey, that's my homegirl. She's coming into town and she needs me to pick her up from the train station. And because I don't know what she's there for, I go pick her up at the train station, and somehow I get wrapped up and tied up as being an individual that's caught up in this because I picked you up from the train station. You see how messy this can get? On or about the 4th day of January 2021, Travion C. Cuddy traveled to Ruby Freeman's home in Cobb County, Georgia, and attempted to contact her but was unsuccessful. Travion Cuddy spoke with Freeman's neighbor and falsely stated that she was a crisis manager attempting to help Freeman before leaving Freeman's home. This was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. On or about the 4th day of January 2021, Cuddy, while in Fulton County, Georgia, placed a telephone call to Ruby Freeman and stated that Freeman was in danger. Cuddy stated that she could help Freeman and requested that Freeman meet with and speak to her that night at Cobb County Police Department precinct in Cobb County, Georgia. This was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. On or about the 4th day of January 2021, Cuddy traveled to a Cobb County Police Department precinct in Cobb County, Georgia, and met with and spoke to Ruby Freeman for approximately 1 hour. Harrison William Prescott Floyd joined the meeting by telephone. Cuddy and Harrison William Prescott stated to Freeman that she needed protection and purported to offer her help. This was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. On or about the 4th day of January 2021, Stephen Clifford Lee, Harrison William Prescott, and Travion C. Cuddy committed a felony offense of solicitation of a false statement in writing. And it has the violations by soliciting, requesting, and importuning Ruby Freeman in Fulton County, Georgia election worker to engage in conduct constitute the felony offense of false statements in writing. By knowingly and willfully making a false statement in representation concerning events at State Farm Arena and November 3rd presidential election in Georgia, said statement and representation being within the jurisdiction of the Office of the Georgia Secretary of State. So y'all get the picture. So essentially, they was trying to get this lady to come up and lie. And the crazy part is, guys, about this ex-publicist, She went to Cobb County and met with this lady, and there was body cams that showed this conversation. So they tried to tell her, we know that you were doing some flaky stuff as a poll worker. We know you committed crime. We know you hid votes, trying to convince her. And then said, well, what we need you to do is we can protect you, but we need you to give this story when we go in front of these committees that there were falsifications, false votes were cast. Literally, you just get a reglo smeglo that's trying to make $100 or whatever they pay these days, and you get caught up in Trump stuff. So here's the video. It has closed captioning because it's very hard to hear because it's low. But this is the body cam of when this ex-publicist of Kanye West and R. Kelly came and met Freeman at the Cobb County Sheriff's Department to try to convince her to make a false statement in front of the committee and basically say there was some deficiencies in accounting and that they would protect her if she essentially testified in a way that would help Donald Trump. Ma'am, you are a whole publicist in Chicago. What you got to do with this? I promise you, Trump probably doesn't even know her. Now, we do know the relationship allegedly between Kanye and Donald Trump. But this is crazy.
So thank you so much for agreeing to meet with us. We didn't want to frighten you, but we had to find you within this time bracket. I'm here because I received a call. Not that I didn't know about this situation before, because I had heard, but it wasn't a serious concern for me because I had absolutely nothing to do with it. We would like to let you know first and foremost, we have put in placement a way to move you, to secure you from what may be on the horizon within the next 48 hours. And we have probably 48 hours to move you. We may do it on your schedule. I cannot say what specifically will take place. I just know that it will disrupt your freedom and participate in the freedom of one or more of your family members. I would like to connect now on the phone Harrison Floyd, who would be taking this situation to a detailed level for you to let you know exactly what is at stake, what choices you have, whether you choose or not to deal with us. I am not your enemy. This is Garrison. He works with me. You are a loose end for a party that needs to tidy up. I work with some of the biggest names in the industry. Crisis is my thing. One thing we don't want to do for you is create another person. I'm going to call Harrison Floyd. I'm going to put him on speaker. Who is Harrison Floyd? Harrison Floyd is Harrison Floyd. Vice of that who works in crisis management. I'm very proud of him with authoritative powers to get you the protection that you need. And I do want the officers to know this is at this moment a conversation in between private citizens. I am hoping that you are trusting that this information doesn't go any further. I have to honestly advise, I don't know her background.
I can step over there if you're comfortable. That's fine?
Yeah, I want her to be comfortable, but I also want to advise her that there are federal people who are involved here that I don't know who is connected to who. And I really need for her to be as nonchalant as possible with this conversation that we are going to have, so that if she does make a decision, she's protected in her decisions.
What are you what are we looking at right now? What are you even talking about? And that's why I said I can almost guarantee you that Trump, because if you see how she got involved, it was a white guy that was trying to talk to Freeman, and then they came to the conclusion, oh, maybe she feels more comfortable talking to a black guy. So then you go get this Floyd guy who is over the Black Voices for Trump in Chicago, who probably said maybe she'll feel comfortable with a black woman. So then you go ahead and you probably, only God knows what he told her to get on the train. Probably paid her really good to go over there and talk to this lady, because she don't sound like she even know what she's talking about. She's talking in circles. Man, what are you even saying? What are you saying? I'm here to tell you your freedom may be at stake. Floyd is gonna give more details. So it's almost like she just got solicited to get the girl, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but get the lady to get to the police station so this man could talk to her so she can feel more comfortable. But then you notice the publicist tried to say, I just want you guys to know this is between two private citizens, almost like she knew that body cam was on and she didn't want this to be recorded. Now, you gonna ruin your whole career over Donald Trump, who don't give two flying figs about you? I just think this whole thing is insane. But that right there, because she was just a regular person. Again, you know how you get notices they're looking for poll workers and you take that day off because you get a decent pay for the whole day? That's all she was there for. And then just imagine you being wrapped up in this because you happen to be a poll worker in a county of which Donald Trump lost. And so he's trying to win, so he solicits you. It's crazy. All this for Trump. That's what I'm saying. Y'all, it's 287. Make sure you guys hit the like button. We are on our way to our last and final story, which I wasn't even going to talk about. But now I got to talk about it. I got to. I'm going to look at a couple of your questions. I remember when this came out, white supremacists and MAGA folks swarmed house 48 hours later. They even rushed into her house. Thank God she fled right after talking to this nut. Now, she did say, you can talk to me, but it's going to be at the police station. She didn't let them in her house. Oh, she keep this a secret. You hear that, Noel Jones? Did you hear that? Just thuggerish. All because you mad because you lost. You have got to be the biggest sore loser I have ever seen. But hey, Tion, good to see you. Okay, guys, so this next story that we're talking about, and we got video for that too. All over the internet, this has been trending since last weekend. So this right here, for those of you that don't know, is Bishop Noel Jones. This is First Lady Loretta. Now, I know Jones just because Paul is big here and he's a part of Paul, and he always preaches when they have their major events here. But he is a pastor out of California. He has always been a bachelor. He's been a bachelor for decades. He's been known for that. And Loretta has been around for a while. And there was a show called Preachers of LA, of which we were introduced to Loretta, and she was considered the friend. And if anybody watched Preachers of LA, she cooked when he was out of town. She made sure the house was tidy and nice and all of that. And everybody was asking them, like, all the other preachers was like, why haven't you married her? Why haven't you married her? Well, just recently, it was just seemed random to us. They got married, had an elaborate wedding. And that was that. We were all shocked that he was finally off the market and he was tying the knot. And so apparently after church on Sunday, this lady right here, Miss Sister Regina, she had a problem with Lady Loretta, who was on the front seat. I don't know where the security was. I don't know why. And the reason why I say that, because people were making, talking about the security. For those of you that don't know, my husband is a musician as well. In the churches he played for, depending on the caliber, they have security, right? And so when they had security, a security in the church he was at was assigned to me. When I went and took my daughter to the restroom, they were right there. Where until we went to that car, they were on me, and I just was the musician's wife, just the keyboardist. So that's why I was shocked about security. Where allegedly, according to the reports, this lady right here went up to Lady Loretta and punched her a few times, knocked her out. She went up. They said she left on a stretcher, and she went to the hospital. So I was thinking, in my infinite wisdom, okay, everybody's gonna talk about the story, but I am going to wait to see this arrest report, because there was just no way in my sanctified mind that she wasn't going to jail. What did Cardi say? She going to jail. That's what I was thinking. I said, there is just no way this lady is not going to jail. But I kept looking, and I kept my contacts I have in LA. I was asking, like, hey, did anybody come through there with this name? Nothing. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean that charges won't be filed or that she didn't make a report. Maybe they didn't arrest her, but I was just thinking personally that if Lady Loretta went to the hospital, that's just like a domestic violence victim. If you go to the hospital, they usually ask who hit you, right? And you give them the name. And they arrest you. Well, we know that whatever happened with Miss Regina, she's been online talking, and she admitted we didn't know who it was. We had the video where we seen that she was, a nice, bigger woman and was being hauled off. And so videos have been surfing because she went online and she basically said, she introduced herself and said, I am the one that punched Lady Loretta in the face. So she acknowledged that, and she just admitted to it. Like, it's nothing to a boss. Like, it was okay. Well, she did another video outside of that first one, where she gave more justification for her alleged action. What she is alleging is that she has filed several police reports, and you'll see this in this video. She is alleging that she has filed several reports, and she's tried to get help, and she's contacted Bishop because she says that Lady Loretta has been stalking her. She has cut her brakes, all this other criminal activity, and that nobody has done anything. So she felt like she had to do what she had to do at the time by any means necessary. That's basically what she was saying. So this is the last video on my wall. I posted the post that she made today. So those posts were made today, and we are going to look at those real quick. So these were the posts that I posted today. And she said, as I was looking on YouTube and all of the different commentary titles, I see everyone wants to rush to break this story. I don't see anyone asking anyone else to come forward if they've experienced Loretta Jones like I have or worse. The real story isn't me punching her. The real story is the unveiling of all the evils of Loretta Jones. Ask people to come forward anonymously if necessary, then get the full story of who she really is. I don't want to become famous for punching a first lady. I want people to start healing because I punched this first lady. What? So she wants us on the internet to start, I guess, ask or solicit and ask folks, has anyone been mistreated by Miss Loretta Jones? Has anyone been mistreated like she's saying she was mistreated? So that's what she's saying, that we are looking, we're going about this wrong, or people on the internet, because I haven't talked about it yet. People on the internet are going about this wrong. For her to be susceptible to being charged, she is very vocal. Like, you have to know in your mind that what you did was against the law So how do you go on the internet and you're just bragging about what you did? I don't understand. And I ain't gonna lie, when she said she has some police reports, I'm like, let me inbox this lady because I want to know what police reports you done filed against Miss Loretta, because I'll talk about it if you actually filed them. But she claims, so here's another post that she did today. That again I posted on my wall earlier, where she claims that she has a corroborator. She has someone that can corroborate her story. She said, don't know if this person is even real, but this is what happened to me, and they explained it better than I can. I just received this in my messages this morning. Thank you to everyone who has supported me through this situation. I want to also thank Tasha K for not posting how bad I did in the interview. I can't talk about the evils of this woman without sounding crazy. It's too complicated, and I'm too simple. I can flow better when I talk about the positive things in life and focus on the future promises. So allegedly, she has already talked to Tasha K. So if you read this screenshot she has on here from Shirley that she says she don't know if this person is real, she's allegedly describing Miss Loretta, saying, most hateful, nasty woman I had, chase me, stack me multiple times, helping rob everything I have, and hacking online into my phone and all my accounts, to include having money taken out of my checking accounts, and like I'm just out thousands. Then she uses my name and ministry and claims she's a prophetess. Oh no, you had my nose broke, not over. Prophetess Shirley E. So she's supposed to be a prophetess. And she allegedly is talking about Miss Loretta, according to Princess Regina Adams here. Tracy said this sounds like Regina on a fake account. Yep, allegedly. So we'll see. I'm sure she'll probably, if Tasha K interviewed that lady, first of all, everybody was looking like, well, why hasn't she advertised it? Well, you know, when she interviews people, she'll just come out and you don't even know that she interviewed them, but it probably be behind a paywall because this was something that was trending. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody couldn't believe that this happened in the church. But here is, let me see. Here is Miss Regina, because she did the first video that everyone was talking about, where she acknowledged who she was and that she was the one that allegedly committed this act of assault. And she did another video the next day. So let's look at that video, since it's Video Friday, because we're still going to wait to see if any documents get filed, because I just don't understand how you just walk in these streets almost bragging about what you did, and that's just that. I can't see that happening.
But I've been seeing people sharing and making comments. I've gotten messages in my DMs that people want to beat my ass because I punched the First Lady. I feel like the message that everybody is missing is she wasn't acting like the First Lady when she was harassing me. She wasn't acting like the First Lady when she was stalking me. She wasn't acting like the First Lady when she was hacking my bank account or my cell phone or my emails or my Grubhub or my Uber or crawling under my car in December, taking out my brakes. She wasn't acting like the First Lady then. She wasn't acting like a celebrity when she was putting cameras in the bathrooms, watching us shower. She wasn't acting like a celebrity then. And everybody is coming to her, not everybody, a lot of people are coming to her back, but a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of support, and I just want to say thank you. You know, because I understand a lot of people who have something negative to say don't pay tithes. They don't pay tithes. They don't have any spiritual insight, spiritual in-depth, spiritual awareness to know that people can smile on your face on Sunday morning after kicking in your door Friday night, kidnapping your kid, and bringing them back to you dead. One thing people fail to realize is secondhand smoke does cause cancer. Okay? Secondhand smoke, when you're around enough secondhand smoke, it does cause cancer. It does. And it's more deadly with meth, which is the reason why food stamps are stolen, because if you're around a lot of meth, when people are smoking meth around you and you have not eaten, it causes death. That's why meth is highly illegal. That's why people lose their houses when they are found out to be smoking meth, because the state will come in and take their house from them. That was the biggest scare I had, that because I knew we had been around so much second-hand smoke, my biggest fear was cancer. I thank God we went to the doctor. It's not cancer, but that was my biggest fear. And because cancer does run in my family, and I'm not justifying anything, because bottom line is she put the idea to get punched in my head. She was the one that did all the stalking. She was the one that did all the behavior.
Did y'all hear that? She said Miss Loretta put the idea in her head to punch her. That is not a defense. It's just not a defense, lady. Let's go on.
And I see people I've met since I was 10 support me, since I was 10, because they know that was never something I would do. Am I proud of what I did? No. I did what I had to do to get this person to stop stalking me. Now, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I did what I had to do to get this person to stop stalking me. The police couldn't help me. The judges couldn't help me. Every time I reported it, it couldn't help me. Bishop couldn't help me. I wrote letters to Bishop, gave them to security guards. None of those people could help me stop her from not only crawling under our car after I wrote the letters, but continuously blowing secondhand smoke around me and my daughter. No one could help. So when you see somebody resolve to punching that's not in their character, in their disposition, in their history, then you know they've been pushed to that point. And so for all the comments, I don't care what you say about me, because I already know y'all don't pay your tithes. I said it. I already know y'all don't pay your tithes. And you're backing somebody who's just as broke as you. Damn, that was the truth. Because if you pay your tithes, then God would lead you spiritually to not only financial awareness, but to spiritual awareness. If you paid your tithes, you would know that the word says, follow me as I follow Christ. If you ain't following Christ, I ain't got to follow you. And that's the bottom line. So, am I worried about backlash? It's already here. I don't care. I didn't realize that first video was going to blow up like it did. I've never had anyone blow up before, and I've had someone ask me to speak on the live, which I'm going to do because I feel like it needs to be discussed. Because this is how we, as the Black community, stay ignorant to the things that are going on around us by the people we supposedly love and respect. And I actually respected her at one point. I did until all of this shit started happening. And it's not things that were in my head. It was things that I saw, things that I heard, things that I felt so strongly that I could not shake. And when you become more spiritually aware because you pay your tithes, or you stop eating meat, pick one, then you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. But I am going to do a podcast whenever they ask me, we meet up, I'm going to do it, because I want people to understand where we fall short. And if the enemy comes into our church, just because they smile and dress nice, don't mean they're for us. Let me say that again. Just because someone smiles and dress nice and they come to our church doesn't mean they're for us. And we as Black people need to be spiritually aware as well as physically aware of the people we allow in our space and in our homes, because if that wrong person gets in your home, it can destroy the entire house. So you need to make sure you understand what your agenda is. And when someone else comes in with their agenda, you make sure you stay focused on your agenda. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to have to live with your decision. And everyone that is, this is not even to everyone. This is specifically to those who were with Bishop for years and you gave up Bishop to follow her. You gave up your promise. You gave up something so great that God had in store for you, that once you find out what it is literally going to shake you to your core. And I found out this weekend what the promise was, and I'm going to hold on to my promise. I'm not going to be emailing or contacting the church, and no, I'm not going back to the City of Refuge. I've said that before. But I'm going to hold on to my promise.
Do she think she invited back to the City of Refuge? I am sure, Princess, they got your picture on the front door. Did she just make it like she made the decision that she not going to go back to the City of Refuge? I'm sure they made that decision for you.
And I'm going to definitely get to my promise because I've been through too much to give up my promise. And that's what I wanted to tell y'all, that no matter what you face, don't give up on the promise, because it will come to pass, because his word won't return to you void. So
now, somebody said that that's why Tasha K didn't air it, is because of how she's talking now, and something appeared to be not right with her. And that's supposed to be why Tasha K didn't air it. Now, Tasha K not going to air something because she think that somebody not right or something ain't right. That say a whole lot. Did she post that or something? Andrew, let me know where you got that information come from, or the rest of you guys got the information, so we can verify. Because she did mention, as you've seen in the post, that she did an interview with Tasha K. But if Tasha K not gonna air it, that interview must have been wild.
So y'all have a great evening. I didn't realize I was going to post again tonight. I saw some of the comments, which I was glad to finally see, because usually they're blocked and I can't see anything. I never see any comments. I never see any shares. I never see any likes. And this time I'm able to see them, and I'm thankful for it. And for everybody that says, yeah, she's a big girl. She knew she was a big girl when she crawled her ass into my car and took out my brakes. She knew I was a big girl when she stole my food stamps. She knew I was a big girl when she hacked my car, broke my seat, broke in my car, stole my clothes, cut up my clothes, poked holes in my clothes. She knew I was a big girl then. She wouldn't act like the first lady then, nor was she acting like somebody famous. And if you always got new clothes, why are you over here messing with my clothes when I'm sleeping in my car? You get new clothes every time you ask. Why are you messing with me? And that's the part nobody wants.
So she says she's sleeping in her car, and Loretta is taking. Maybe that's why they're not pursuing anything, because perhaps they know, pastors know if they are in pastoral mode, because there's some pastors that just ain't pastors like they used to be. They know your issues that you may have, and perhaps they know that she has issues, and that is why they don't want to pursue any type of charges. Maybe that's it. What you guys think? Let's finish this out. She's almost finished.
I said recognize or even acknowledge. Well, you just want to look at the position. Just because some people are in the position doesn't mean they're qualified to have it. Because what you should do is you should look at other first ladies that have been in the position. And all you see right now is an imitation of what should be there. And it's not even a good imitation at that. Y'all have a good evening.
And that was that, okay? So that's what she had to say. So again, I think based on these videos, we can tell that it appears to us, and I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist. I am not one to just diagnose everybody. But what she's saying is just the math is not math and not making sense. So perhaps maybe they just want her to stay away from the church and they're going to move on with their lives, because, that's like you working in a mental hospital and they come and they bite you and they hit you and they do all of that. Like I worked before I became a lawyer, I worked at a location where people with mental health problems, physical disabilities, they went in a day program. And it was times they didn't do that to me because I was like, listen. But there were a lot of people that got flipped on their head that worked there. So maybe that's how they feel. It's not like they will press charges because of that, because it's a part of your job and you know that they have some issues. But I really hope that she gets her issues handled. She needs to stay off social media though. Now she does have people that have seemingly supported her in the comments. You know, they've known her, I guess, for a while. And hopefully she has a village because this ain't it. She just needs to stay off the internet. She needs to stay off the internet. You said they need to press charges because that woman is dangerous. All right, she has an. I'm gonna put. We've been on for over an hour and 40 minutes because you know Trump was taking forever, which I knew, and we didn't even go over the whole indictment. But if anybody would like to come on and make any comments, there you go. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'll give you guys a few minutes if you want to come on any of the topics today. If you want to talk about Michael Oher, Cuddy, Donald Trump issue, and then of course Bishop Noel Jones and First Lady. You said disconnect her internet. The woman he chose, she could really snap one day. They should keep an eye on her and get a protective order. They probably will. I would suggest that that's what they do. You said Tracy would have had the same level of loss had you stayed here. She has an unhealthy obsession with the bishop. Nothing she has said doesn't make any sense. She didn't say like well, in the other video, she did mention like, because I'm pretty. He's around pretty women all the time. So I don't even know if that is it. You think she had like fantasies of being the wife or something in her head that she thought she was next? What you think? Hey, Sam, how are you?
I'm good. I'm the first one, huh?
Mm-hmm. You popped in here quick.
I sure did. I don't even think I gave you time to put the link down good. But girl, okay, I want to touch bases. I'm gonna start since it's fresh on the docket. That lady beat Loretta up. Do you think she was infatuated with Bishop Noel, and she just for some reason, wanted to try to destroy Loretta in some type of way? I can't see Loretta going under that lady's cart and taking her brakes out. I can't hear you, Pam.
Yeah, I know I was on mute. Loretta ain't got no time for that. I don't think Loretta did that either. She ain't got no time for that.
I think that she was probably, because they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and so all of a sudden this comes out. She didn't. I think she was infatuated with Bishop Noel, is what I'm thinking. And let me see, what was the other one? I know Trump. That poor conservatorship. Some people know they got their money.
You got to move out. You can't get in the
Hey, Dave.
Okay, it's okay.
Hey, baby girl.
Okay, go ahead. Let me press me.
So I'm thinking, what was I talking about? I done got lost already. Oh, that I'm gonna go with Trump since I can remember his too. Lord, I pray to God's up above that this will be one time that he will not get a bail.
With these White. Well, that's interesting. I don't know, because these are still, I guess, considered white collar crimes. He's gotten bail and all. This is fourth indictment. So, I mean,
But he's going around talking bad about the district attorney and all this stuff, and they're gonna say, "Oh well, if he tell the good old boys to come out again, they come out." But I want him to go in and just go ahead and sir, no bail.
okay, the truth reviewer said Bishop probably gave her 2 compliments just being the gentleman he is, and she went the whole mile and down the aisle in her head. Yeah, because he's very
Yep.
charismatic. You can't take that from him. He ain't the best looker, in my opinion. He might smell good some, but he ain't the best looker, in my opinion. But he is charismatic. He's very intelligent. His mind's very bright. You can't take that from him. So yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Love Jones, how are you?
Hey Pam, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. Real quick. Okay, so with the conservatorship,
Mm-hmm.
when I was watching you know me, I be watching intensely. So you know how I do. But with the conservatorship, when they was doing the interview, the lawyer clearly stated that he told them, "Give me 15 million, or I'm gonna out you." Right? Do you remember hearing that?
Yep.
Okay. But now all of a sudden they're taken back and shocked and amazed and the baffled. That ain't even a word, but it came in my mind. So they were shook, all shook up. But you had a forewarning if what happened you say happened. Am I right?
You're right. They basically said this happened before where they said, listen, he said, I want the 15 million. So he may not have known. He might have still thought that adults can't be adopted. And that's what the conservatorship was. So I believe Michael probably did believe that because who would just know that? Especially if they're the
Right.
ones that told him. But he probably found out, especially now he's married, he has kids, all of that. He probably found out that he should how much money they got and was like, wait a minute, how they getting this money and I haven't gotten this money. So maybe he told him, like, listen, we ain't even gotta bust it out. We don't even gotta mess up the whole story. Because see, if you recall, Michael Oher never liked the blind side. Like he never liked the way he was
Right.
depicted. He said he
Right.
wasn't the dummy that they tried to make him be. He didn't have all them issues like that. People were making smart comments because he was on the dean's list and stuff in college, and it was comments like, "Oh, that lets you know, all you need to know about Ole Miss if he was on the dean's list." So he's proven himself that he has some type of, he's educated. He can learn. So he didn't like the way he was depicted. So to me, he always ran from the movie anyway.
Right.
So he
But
probably
he
looked
wasn't
into
trying
it.
to run from 2.5%
Oh,
of
heck no.
residuals.
Heck no. He probably looked at the movie, started every time he flicked on the TV, saw his story on there and was like, bump that. Like, where's my cash coming from? Now they're arguing that he had checks that came and they tried to give them to him and he didn't want them. And so when he wouldn't take the checks, they put it up and they allegedly started a whole trust fund for his son, for
Well,
Michael.
his son should be hella rich right now. His
Well,
son should be unbelievably heavy in the pockets if that's the case.
yeah.
And you would have to prove that. You could say, okay, we gave him his money. He didn't want it. They made themselves the victim. Yeah. Well, the lawyers made them the victim. Michael is a villain. Like we was his savior. We took him in off the
That's what
streets.
they did. How people are saying why they did not like the movie. All my family members. I don't know how I got. My sister said it. My brother said it. It was like I never watched that movie. I hate them white savior movies. I was like, it's a nice little wholesome movie. It's hard to find stuff your kids can watch. I thought it was a wholesome movie, but then my family's like, I never watched that crap. Like, I'm tired of them making it seem like they always the saviors. And that's pretty much what his
Hmm.
attorneys did in that video. If you paid attention in that press conference, it was, well, I hope this doesn't deter other people from wanting to help, those in need. It's like,
Right.
oh, he was
And then
on
on top,
stardom already when you got him. What are you talking about?
But this is my question. Why are you discussing his NFL contract and how much money he made from that and shoe deals and all of this? You're discussing but you're not discussing his complaint. You're not discussing what he's actually coming after you for. Is because he was like, no, they discussed conservatorship in the movie. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It was an adoption, and it was at the kitchen table, and they asked him, did he want to be a part of their family and to sign the papers? And then she went to the mama house. I remember I seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the movie more than once because Sandra Bullock is one of my favorite actresses. It was just a movie to watch. It wasn't like, you know what I'm saying. She is one of my favorite, but it was on the TV. They depicted it as an adoption, not a conservatorship.
And they giving
And
poor Sandra Bullock grief. It's like she just read the script, guys. Like
that's all she did. It ain't got nothing to do with her. It don't have nothing to do with Sandra Bullock. Y'all get off Sandra Bullock.
they
That's my
making it seem
homie.
like
She ain't gave me no money, but that's my homie.
they
That's
giving her grief. Like, dang, why y'all doing
yeah.
that like that?
They got to get off Sandra because Sandra ain't had nothing to do. She ain't signed none of them papers. She don't know what they got paid. She don't know nothing. But in that press conference, quote unquote, it was all about how much money he made. They didn't really want to talk about the movie. They didn't really want to talk about how much they were actually paid for the movie, and they never talked about what the residuals were. Somebody in the press asked them about the percentage and how did he receive his percentage, and then and the thing is I believe those lawyers was up there running their mouth and they didn't even have all the information, and I think they screwed the pooch.
It was
Yep.
publicity. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is just a day and age. And I said that about Tory Lanez. So y'all come back tomorrow because I have the actual statements verbatim of the sentencing with Megan and Tory Lanez on what was said. Of course, Tory's was long and rambling, but we still gonna go over it.
I'll be here. Bright and center. Bright and
these
center.
people, but they just, it's for publicity. Like, I met some attorneys that I call media whores, and they'll laugh because I'm like, you is a whole media whore. Like, your
Yep.
time about to go do time, but you gonna hear, I know they're innocent and we're gonna fight vigorously. It's like, whatever. You already trying to incorporate whatever deal you about to get. You ain't even going to try. But it's free publicity, and people feel like all publicity is good publicity. He offered them
That's
cookies and snacks for the media. So you contacted the media, told them you were going to do this on behalf of the family. And to me, you didn't do them any justice. You didn't, like, they need to come out and be the ones to say something. They're so devastated because he's like family, but y'all been estranged forever. So what are you devastated for? Clearly, there was a reason why you guys have been estranged since this movie, or the last decade, I think they said.
No, he said after college, he didn't they weren't contacted like that. They
Then
didn't have contact.
So that's why that makes me wonder, is even when the movie came out, like, I don't remember the press tours they did, because typically they'll have the original people when it's.
He wasn't in the press tours.
Oh wow.
He wasn't in the press tours.
Well, he
at
probably
all.
didn't even have much to do with this film at all. Like, he probably wasn't consulting, executive, or like nothing at all that had to do with this movie then.
No, because the movie basically made them look like the Captain Saberhose and made him look dumb. Said he couldn't read or write. Well, for somebody who can't read or write, I worked with special needs, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you not just bring them in school and all of a sudden, then they at the top of their class to where they could get all of these scholarships and all of that stuff. I mean, and then go turn around and they go to a college and on the dean's list. Hello, how do you go from how you showed him in the movie to when he was in college? He was on the dean list. He was killing it. You know what I'm saying?
Because they want to make it, but why do they have to make him seem like the dumb jock? Like, they didn't even have to do that. Like, they really did make it seem like he was just straight struggling. Now, obviously, he probably had tutors because he was from pillar to post. He was on the street fending for himself as a young kid, lost in the system, according to him, sleeping on friends' couches. But his point was the Tuohys were not the only place that he laid his head. He laid his head at several people. And if he has to give credit, it has to be way more than the Tuohys that he giving credit to.
Exactly.
That was what he was saying. So yeah, they got him. They almost got him at a better point in his life because he was probably more mature. Football probably helped him with discipline. He was already an All-American. You knew you weren't paying for him to go to college because he already had all these people scouting him. They all wanted to give him full scholarship.
Exactly.
Better point. There were people before him that didn't know who this man was going to be, who he's going to grow up to be, if he was going to be an athlete, that took him in with no strings attached. When you guys had him, it was obvious what he was going to be and what he was going to do.
But the thing is you didn't get that conservatorship signed and put into place until you were already solid with where you knew what you knew his path. You could see his path. You didn't do it when he was 17.
Yeah. So Cynthia said they are saying that Michael mentioned the conservatorship in his book. Folks who have read the book said that in the book, Michael said that conservatorship was the same as an adoption. So he was confused. And you can adopt someone as an adult. I've seen it happen. It doesn't stop because you're 18. That's not what stops it.
Right.
The Tuohys have always said they adopted him while talking about him. Also, if they were estranged the last 10 years, did they keep using his picture and why did they keep using his picture and talking about him? We know why, ML Michael, because it benefited them. That's why I said some things
the lawyers
not pay for. Some things you cannot pay for. I don't care if he sold his business for $200 million. The reputation that it gave you, the trust that it gave you, people wanting to donate to your organization, people want to do all that. You cannot. That's the best publicity. A whole movie. That is the best publicity that any. And it was a movie where she won an Oscar for. Like, come on.
And there's a foundation. They have a foundation, and the foundation is built off of his likeness, his name, and his likeness. So this whole foundation is running off of off of that dead man. Oh, well, I bet you it's not gonna be running pretty soon because they're gonna say, "Oh my goodness, these people are crooked."
Wow. Yeah.
I think I'm not so far with the story that's out. I'm not down with the Tuohys, but I really think they need to get some better representation. Okay.
Yeah, they're saying that they are decent. I mean, they may be decent attorneys. It's laughable to me because that's why when I meet people, they're shocked that I'm an attorney, almost like there's some look to it. But if you think like on TV and how it's portrayed and how we've been almost programmed, the way they are like the look and everything that you think a lawyer is. So like when I go into federal courts and I see the pictures on the wall, that's what they look like. Is like all of them look like that.
But I'm not going for it like that. I'm saying better representation on the way that they handled this press conference. I'm not talking about they look, they twang, none of that. I'm talking about the way the things that they said. They didn't come with the whole armor of God.
No, they weren't prepared. They knew all they wanted to do was just say it wasn't true. They came with numbers, so they said there was a pie and it was 5 people and it was 100,000. So you trying to say out of all of that it was a total of 500,000? That doesn't even match up to the 2.5% because there had to be some contract that Michael Oher's attorney looked at to come up with these numbers. He ain't just pulled them numbers out the sky.
Right. You know how much it was? It said the kids got $225,000 each. I read that. And the parents got like 300, got over $1 million. I don't know exactly, but according
to this attorney, that's not true. The attorneys are. So that's why they're talking about he sold his business for $225 million. Well, when was the date of that, sir? Like, when was the date?
Right.
That's what we want to know, because again, this puts you in a position to be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this puts you in a position to be great. That's why we want to know who you were. It probably attracted investors, attracted business people. You probably are in circles you weren't in before because of this movie. There was a lot of benefits to this movie, and you looking like you were the savior. It just was.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm done with that. I mean, y'all can keep talking about it, but I'm on to part number 2.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's very short on what I'm gonna say about the Trump thing, but with all of those defendants, I say half of them gonna get a deal. They're gonna do what they gotta do to get from under it. So they're not going to go to court with all of those people. You
And
know,
definitely that second page that I've seen, that second
yeah.
page, all them about them with 2 and 3 charges. Like, again, I'm like, y'all imagine, like, you, because I'm a poli-sci major, so I know a lot of politicians, and plus, you know, some of, if you want to be in certain positions, even in my profession, it's a political process, you know, it's an election process.
Right.
So I'm in that circle somewhat, but just imagine like somebody who is that much of a Trumpster that they're just like, hey, Pam, could you give me the number to so-and-so and such and such? And I'm like, oh, okay. And I give you the number, and somehow I'm caught up in your conspiracy because you used the number because you were trying to convince them that the election was a fraud, and for you to erase some things, add some things, delete some things, create some things in order to corroborate what my theory is in my head.
Right.
That's crazy to me. And then like Eastman, he is an attorney. It was a few attorneys in that indictment. You guys are willing to risk the hard work of you earning your license for Donald Trump. I just don't even get that whole. Eastman filed in federal court saying that it was all these discrepancies in the voting. It was all people were voting that shouldn't have voted, all this stuff. And you filed a document in federal court to get an injunction to stop the whole January 6th counting and all of that. Like, you did that for Donald Trump, but why? Again, Donald Trump is indicted. He has twice impeached, 4 times indicted. His money is wrapped up and tied up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
He's not going to pay for all you guys. And again, I don't believe he knows half of these people.
Some of those people are dropping off.
Yeah, because Giuliani probably contacted people. Somebody else contacted somebody else. They was like, oh, okay, Trump, I can get it done. So that means it's like third removed. I don't think some of these people he even knows. So again, half of them gonna end up on the court appointed. Trump talking about, Your Honor, I need a court appointed attorney. Thank you so much, Alicia, for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Welcome,
Alicia. They're gonna take plea deals and all kind of stuff. It's gonna be people singing. They're gonna be singing in soprano, alto, and tenor. You might even get a couple of basses. But
like, what do you want to know?
Right. But that woman on that video that you showed, she had no idea what she was getting herself into.
It seemed like she didn't know, like she was talking in circles, like, what is happening? It's like they almost wanted to persuade her. I think her job, and this is probably what she's going to say at the end of the day, her job was to persuade her to talk to that guy that is over that Black Voices for Trump. And that was what her job was. And she had minimal information about what was really going on. If that
exactly
what happened, she better say that's what happened.
Exactly. But at the same time, if you sit and just listen to that video, because this is not the first time I saw it. If you sit and listen to that video, it's like a what do you say? I'm not threatening you, and I'm not delivering a threat, but on the low, I'm delivering a threat. If you like watch it, you know, she's like, yeah, and then we're gonna move you because we want you to be safe. And this and it's like, well, I felt safe when I moved, when I came in here to see you. That's why I'm still in my house.
Yeah,
But after I
let me
talk to
say
you,
what
I'm gone.
it's about real quick.
So thank you so much for agreeing to meet with us. We didn't want to frighten you, but we had to find you within this time bracket. I'm here because I received a call. Not that I didn't know about this situation before, because I had heard, but it wasn't a serious concern for me because I had absolutely nothing to do with it. We would like to let you know first and foremost, we have put in place that a way to move you, to secure you from what may be on the horizon within the next 48 hours. And we have probably 48 hours in which to move you. You will do it on your schedule. I cannot say what specifically will take place. I just know that it will disrupt your freedom and participate the freedom of one or more of your family members. I would like to connect now on the phone Harrison Floyd, who would be taking this situation.
You know what's gonna mess her up now that I watch this again. She said she acknowledged that she's familiar with this situation.
Exactly. That's the first thing she said.
That statement might jack her up. Now she just was like, I just, was trying to connect you to this person or whatever, then she would have been home free. Now she has to say maybe that was a talking point that he told her to say, and she was just what he told her. She better
And
that lady better be. Soon as she got that, and when she go in on, they still got till the 25th. She better go in there already with her attorney has already orchestrated a deal. I orchestrated.
yep,
Call me. Call me that.
yep. But what's so bad about it is, okay, was the lady that came, Miss Freeman is black, right?
Yeah.
And the lady that came in, is that Kanye's publicist?
His ex-publicist. Yep. That's who this guy Floyd called her to be the one to talk to. So this was all a strategy to just try to corner her because she wouldn't talk to anybody before. So I think they were trying to find whoever they felt she would feel comfortable with so they can put in her head, we know you did something wrong. We saw you miscounted votes or whatever they alleged she did wrong, and they wanted her to testify to that in order to help Trump. And she like, what are y'all talking about? Like,
Yeah, they tried to put in place those are black, that's a black female, so she can relate better with another black female. But that lady stood her ground, didn't she?
She did, because she testified. She testified in front of Congress, and her testimony was very compelling as well.
She showed her behind in front of Congress. I ain't gonna lie, I had to clap.
Let me finish this out, and then we go.
What choices you have, whether you choose or not to deal with us. I am not your enemy. This is Garrison. He works with me. You are elusive for a party that needs to tidy up. I work with some of the biggest names in the industry. Crisis is my thing. One thing we don't want
I
to do
can't.
is create another crisis.
You hear that? She said one thing we don't want to do is create another crisis, because she's saying she's the crisis manager. Yeah, she's a publicist, so that's pretty much what they do.
Well, look how it turned out on R. Kelly.
Wasn't much help for R. Kelly, so.
Why did she have to mention that he was a black crisis manager? Now that's who's gonna get a book deal.
I'll step over there if you're comfortable.
Did you hear that? Now she's like talking to her like this is between our private conversation. I don't know this lady's background, the officer that's standing there. No, you knew she had that camera on her, and you were trying to get the camera off. Is what
I want her to be comfortable, but I also want to advise her that there are federal people who are involved here that I don't know who is connected to who. And I really need for her to be as nonchalant as possible with this conversation that we are going to have, so that if she does make a decision, she's protected in her decisions.
That secret. She wanted to keep it a secret, and that officer that was standing there can testify to what she heard.
Yep. That's all
And
she
she could
wanted.
testify, yeah, she could testify and say, no, she asked her not to tell anyone.
Yep. That's all she wanted to do. So all
And
right,
I
y'all.
heard,
I'm about to close this out. So give your last, because we've been over here on
oh,
overtime.
I'm done because I don't want to talk about the Joneses. I have a Kojic background, and I need to keep my nose out of that one. I know too
All
much.
right, all right.
Okay.
Okay, sheer supporter. Go ahead, bye. Get off, coach. Gone.
I'm not let me tell you something, Pam, before I go anywhere. Don't be waving me off. First of all, let me tell you something. I am not a shared supporter. I said I grew up in Kojic.
Got you.
I also walked out of Kojic. Okay, let's be clear. All right, I'm gonna drop down, Pam. You have a wonderful evening. You guys, hey, if you're not a member, become a member. You missing out. I just want to
Yes.
drop that and hit the like button before you exit. I'm
Thank you
down,
so
Pam.
much. Thank you
You
to our
welcome.
mods. Thank you for modding.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. All
Okay,
right,
Pam.
Stan. I'll see you later. I'll see you on the next live, hopefully tomorrow.
You don't want me to get my last thoughts?
Girl, go ahead, Stan. Go ahead, girl.
Oh Lord. Well, Loretta can be bitter because of the simple fact that all these years she was dating Noel Jones, he got Tracy pregnant.
Tracy? Who is Tracy?
You didn't know about that?
You mean that? What's that lady's name? Her name ain't Tracy. Is her name Tracy? The one that
I
got
think
the
it's
2-year-old girl, daughter, or whatever that just came
yeah,
out to do an interview. That's her name.
yeah. And of course, Loretta probably, want to stay close to the bishop, And that woman, that woman was trying to go too many times to the altar.
You know what? All right, Sam. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much
Okay.
for all of your support.
Love you too, girl. I'm girl. I tell my boyfriend, look, I
her
call you
name's
that.
Stacy. Her name's Stacy. I knew that wasn't her name.
Yeah. That's why Loretta walk around there with them eyes beaming. Huh?
Let me put my disclaimer up here. I just got this man having all these other doggone kids from somebody else.
That's the only one.
Description. It's just our opinion. That's it.
Yeah, it's our opinion, and it's alleged. This is not what Pam said. This is what I said.
Stacey Field. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, thank you, Sam. We'll talk later.
Okay, have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Enjoyed our segment of Video Footage Friday, where we have videos to accompany all of our stuff. And I'm going to get off of here because clearly my baby is not going to go to bed if I stay on here. But I had a good time. I enjoyed Video Footage Friday, where we talked about Bishop Jones. We talked about this lady, Miss Regina. We talked about Trump and his indictment. We also talked about Michael Oher. If you guys have not done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit like on the way out. It is my intent, but I'm not going to make promises because I like to be a woman of my word, to go on tomorrow about Tory Lane. So make sure that you meet me here sometime tomorrow. I don't know what time. My schedule is all over the place. I love each and every one of you. You guys make sure that you enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'm going to head on out and watch Dateline because that is my favorite Friday show to watch. And I hope you guys do the same. You guys with the free baby. Free her mama. Tion, free her mama, okay? Free her mother. That's what you need to say. I work all day. I homeschool her. It's always me and Lil Pam all the time. And she gonna go to sleep as soon as we get off of here after her being super loud for no reason and coming here with her iPad that's gonna be all in my video. But anyway, it's time for us to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this 2 hours and 15 minutes. And if the Lord willing, we'll be back to do it again. You know, I gotta leave you with the bop. Shout out to my son, as you see in the comments, Jay Against Humanity. And we out of here.
Yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.